What's up everyone? So I just want to do a video and introduce myself a little bit. Some of you know the story, some of you don't. I speak about, I grew up in family domestic violence, but I rarely go into the depth level of what actually happened and what I was exposed to. Hence why I have written a book about it. So Beauty and Strength, Growing Beyond Family Domestic Violence. Why is it called Beauty and Strength? Because beauty meaning deeper than your skin and strength meaning more than just your physical appearance. So when we go to the actual core level of what we're really about, that is where we see the beauty in life, and that's where we have that inner strength. Growing beyond family domestic violence, because my story is not my victim story. That's not what I'm using for the rest of my life to not make the decisions and choices to have a better lifestyle. I've grown beyond it despite what I've gone through. So I experienced witnessing my mum being abused by my dad. So hitting her, spitting in her face, putting knives up to her throat. We have, I say we because it's my sisters as well. He has almost strangled her to death, put her up against the fridge. If it wasn't for us kids to jump in and pull his hands off, then who knows, she may not have even been here today with us. I've seen him spit in her face, call her a dog, C-U-N-T, every name under the sun. We were having lunch one time and he held a knife at her throat, and I'm there with my younger sister. Yeah, we don't know what to do. But anyway, that has shaped the person who I am today. And I turn that around to have the strength to lead others and to help women in similar situations. Now, I know there are people who have gone through similar situations, if not worse. But where the magic really happens is where you can break the cycle and not become a victim of it and actually use it in your power to have the best life possible. And that is really what this book is about, is to share a message, to spread awareness, and to show you that no matter where you come from or what you've been through, you can change your life, you can break the cycle. Whatever traumatic or adversity you've gone through, it is in your power and your control to actually change that story. So that is why I wrote a book about it. Now, am I challenged about putting my story out there? Absolutely. Who by? Family, of course. Why? Because it's something that you don't talk about. You are doing something out of the norm, which may cause a bit of conflict with others, whether that be in your family. Do I care? Yes. Is it my responsibility? No. How someone feels towards my choices or the actions that I made is totally on them, and vice versa. If I get emotional or if I turn it around on me, what is it triggering in me as to why I'm feeling this way? If I were to completely listen to those people or my family, and not saying it is specifically my sisters or my mum, but in other words, that's probably what I am saying. If I were to listen to them, would I be here right now? Would I write this story? Would I have left Dubbo? Would I have left Port Macquarie? Would have I pushed so hard in competition to want to stand out and be a role model and make a difference in my life? Probably not, right? So if you are making decisions based off what other people think of you, are you going to really get what you want out of life? Probably not. Are you making decisions that are aligned with your soul mission that is probably going to rock the boat along the way? Are you going to get to where you want to get to? Absolutely. So that is what this is about, sharing my story. Yeah, I go in depth, but it's probably like the first chapter, 1 to 2 chapters about my childhood. I write it in a space of love and from my experience, not from my sisters, not from my mum. If my mum were to read this, she would probably feel like it's not the full story, and it's probably true because I write from what I remember from a child. And there are probably times where I have blocked emotional stuff out or suppressed a lot of stuff because maybe I haven't taken myself back to that actual event. But I don't know the full story. I don't know the full story about my dad. All I know is that he repeated the cycle. He did his best with what he could with the knowledge that he had. And same with my mum. I know that my mum loves us. I know that my mum did her best to protect, to provide, to give us the best life possible. It is just, this is the way that it's turned out. And if I hadn't gone through that, then I wouldn't be sitting right here, right now, with my book in my hand, speaking about domestic violence and how you can break it. Not, this is my story, I'm a victim for life, now I'm not going to do this, and now I'm not going to do that. Like, fuck that. If I sit here and don't make these choices because of that shit, then I'm not going to have the best life possible. It is so common for everyone to repeat their cycle. So common. Like, my sisters have repeated it. I repeat it to a degree around self-sabotage. Now, I haven't repeated it where I've attracted an abusive male into my life. I just repeat it from like my anger. Like, I had anger as a child. I thought violence was a way that you showed love, that you showed care, that you showed like how you got control of your life. Like, I was an aggressive, raging teenager where I would punch holes in the walls. I would have punch-ons with my sisters. I would call my mum for everything under the sun. Am I like proud of that? No fucking way. Do I take responsible for my actions? Absolutely. Was that driven out of my environment? Absolutely. Was that still my choice though? Absolutely. But did I know any better? Not in that moment. Do I know better now? Yes. So that is how I can change that. So that is why I'm putting my story out there, to fucking make a difference and to be a message and to be a voice, because you were told you don't speak about that, or get over it, or you don't know what it was like, you didn't have it tough, or there's worse in the world. Yeah, there is, and that is all true, and that's all right. But since releasing this, I have had multiple people message me, tell me about their story. Some people have been suicidal and almost took their life, but because of the scenario and the situation, they didn't, because of something that happened that actually stopped them in that moment. Women that were in this situation for over 10 years and they only got the courage when their life was fucking on the edge of nearly like life or death. That is what matters to me. It's the education, it's the message that I get saying, holy shit, like, I have changed my life because of that. It's getting it into schools where the youth are going like, oh, it's not okay to hit a woman, and vice versa, women do it too. So yeah, that is a big reason why I'm getting it out there. I'm so passionate about it, I'm sure you can tell in my voice, but that is what the book is about. And then I also share my competition experience in CrossFit, going through a miscarriage, through all that shit of a DV background. How do you actually find love? Is it even real? Yes, it is, but you got to start within. You got to go within your heart and soul first before you externally try and validate through needing men to fill the void of what your father didn't fill in your life. When you can actually disconnect that, that is when you'll start to attract the right relationships, and not even intimacy relationships, but other males. Like, I have a guy in my life, his name's Sean, he's like a father figure in my life. For the last 6 years, he has stepped into that space. It was challenging for me at the start to even say that. I had to learn how to trust. I had to open up. He built confidence and belief in me, something that my dad did to a degree, but I was still missing those things. And yeah, everyone can have their daddy and mummy issues, but when you tap into that and know where it comes from, you can then allow other people to fill that in your life. And not that you need them to fulfill it, but at some point in your life, you have questions that you need answers to, that is kind of hovering around on this depth level of your soul that needs to come out. And when you look at your past 5-10 years, everything you have taken, whether you're conscious of this or not, has led to you to where you are now, and has either been driven out of experiences, relationships, abandonment through parents, drugs, alcohol, whatever your story may be, then this is why you are in this space. And yeah, if I can just help one person, male, female, child, teenager, whoever it may be, then that is that's success. And now that I have a little baby girl, the why, it's always been strong, but now it's like so much stronger, because she is now in this world where I want to be the best role model that I can, and John and I as parents, we want to be the best that we can. And yeah, she will read this story but she'll also become so aware of who she is herself individually, and know that no matter what, the emotional connection support is always going to be there, and it is my life mission to break the cycle and to provide that emotionally loving, connected environment for her to grow up in, along with discipline, hardship, and knowing what it takes to actually live a life full of love, abundance, joy, and happiness. And you know, there's a tough road along that way as well to get to that space. So yeah, there's a bit about me. If you have purchased my book already, thank you so much. It truly means a lot. All the love I'm receiving, the messages, the calls, the posts all on social media. Yeah, it is creating a bigger movement. It's creating an impact, and that's what matters. That's what's important. That's real shit. That's making a difference in the world. Anyway, peace.